What's up, you guys? Welcome back to our channel. My name is Bree.
And my name is Theo.
And we'll be doing our very first sit down video. And today we'll pretty much be talking about like our testimony, how we met, and how God brought us together.
I guess from the very beginning of last year, well, in 2024 October, we pretty much started talking. He used to work with me at a news company, and from the beginning, she never noticed me. I noticed her. Usually, she worked on the weekends. I worked on the weekends, but my shift was in the morning shift. So sometimes I would see her, but I'd never acknowledge her because I would just be so busy and ready to go home. But at some point, eventually, I came up to her to talk with one of her associates that work with us still, and we kind of began a conversation. We greeted each other. And I guess it's kind of like the starting point. That's kind of sparked the fire.
He introduced himself, y'all. He put his hand out and was like, I don't think we met yet. My name is such and such. And then from there, we just started talking. We had a conversation about like where we're from, where we traveled to, and a conversation about like Batman versus Marvel or something. And I just remember from that day, like I wanted to keep talking to him. And so the associate or the coworker that he brought up, she had asked me like, she was getting into my dating life, and she was asking me like, are you single? You know, do you see anybody here at the job? Do you think it's cute? And at first I was like, I'm not gonna say nothing, cause like, but I had said his name. She was like, oh, you think Theo's cute? Okay, y'all be so cute. She was saying little stuff like that. And then I don't remember what happened after that, but we pretty much ended up, I got his number from her, his work number. But I waited a while before I said anything, cause like, I just didn't want to come across as fast. Like me and him, we had just talked, so I didn't want to be like moving too fast and just, again, come across as fast. So I decided to wait it out, and then one night I decided to text him, and from there we just started talking like literally every day.
Yeah, it was actually really surprising because I was just so focused on my work and I wouldn't have time for dating or anything like that. But I guess something about her kind of triggered it. Like it just wanted me to know more about her.
Yeah, same here. Not to cut you off, but that's how I felt too. Like when we had that conversation initially, it's like, dang, I want to keep talking to him, but you know, when you're at work, you can't always just be social. You kind of have to break it off at some point. So that's like we had the same feeling of just want to know or get to know each other more.
So, but like she said, we kind of keep our distance from other coworkers, not make it seem so obvious or anything.
Yeah.
So we just basically keep it professional, and I'm glad we did that. But throughout that whole journey, we went on dates. Our first date, I took her to this barbecue place.
Yeah, and we both were nervous. We had said it so many times leading up to like the first date. I was nervous. He was nervous, and like even after the day, we were like, I was nervous. He was like, I was nervous. And then I think a few days before, I had told him that I didn't really get to do anything for my birthday because I was kind of new to the city. I'm not really the type of person that goes out, so like I had told him like I didn't really get to do much for my birthday, and then I also had to work on the day of my birthday at the job we work at together. And so I guess he felt some type of way about that. He told me he was gonna buy me a birthday cake, and y'all, I literally was like, are you serious? Like we had just kind of met, so I thought that was such a sweet gesture. And so literally after the barbecue day, he took me to Publix and picked out a cake for me, got the candles, the lighter, and he sung me happy birthday in a parking garage. And it meant the world to me because I just thought it was so sweet. And so from there, I pretty much like realized like the kind of heart that he has and just how sweet he was. And that's what like drew me towards him even more. I'm like, okay, like, yeah.
Definitely. I guess when she told me that she didn't celebrate her birthday, I know what it's like being alone, not able to celebrate your birthday with family members or friends. So I felt some type of way, so I said, you know what, let me just understand where she's coming from and get her a birthday cake.
Yeah. But after that, we just kept going on dates, kept dating. You want to get into like the spiritual aspect? How should we introduce that part?
So, dang, that's a tough one because we had some backgrounds that resulted in us coming back to being a Christian again.
People that come from my channel may have known like I walked away from a same-sex relationship because I felt like for years God had been like calling me out of the relationship, and I knew it was wrong, but I kept going further and further into it because I was like a people pleaser, and I didn't want to hurt anybody, and so I stayed somewhere where I wasn't happy, I didn't want to be. And then one day I couldn't take it anymore, and so I finally left and started over, got my own place and new job and just new city. And then we said, that's kind of where we met at. And so I had promised or told God that if he got me out of that situation and like that city and just successfully got me moved, everything was paid for miraculously. And I have a full testimony video if y'all want to go check that out on my personal channel. But I told God that if he did that for me, I would get back into church, because I had stopped going to church. I had stopped taking God like serious, taking my walk with God serious. But I told him like I would get back right. And so it had been a minute. Him and I started talking. I had got settled here. And so I felt a tug from God saying like, okay, like as you told me you would get back serious. And so I started looking for churches. And so I would even tell him like, I'm looking at this church, I'm looking at that church. And I was just church shopping. And then what kind of happened from there? I guess like I found one church that I was pretty much drawn to, and I shared it with him. And then at the time, like he kind of shared with me his stance on belief or just being a believer.
To carry on what she was saying, yes, I guess it kind of started back in maybe 10 years ago. Well, I didn't know what else I want to do in my life after I graduated from high school. I graduated from high school back in 2013, and I wanted to join the Air Force. Like that was my dream job. I really wanted to be a pilot, but I guess obviously fate wasn't something that God didn't want me to do. But after I didn't get that position, or just didn't have that type of IQ, I just felt like that kind of dream was taken away from me after I prayed multiple times of being that person. And so I just kind of stopped, gave up, just led to anger and sorrow and just bitter resentment. And I was just kind of frustrated. I didn't know what else to do, and I turned away from God. I turned my back on him and looked the other way and just kept focusing on my other dream job, which is being a photographer or photojournalist. I mean, from there I wasn't really, I won't lie, I wasn't upset or mad or anything when I chose the path of not following Christ. There has been some obstacles, yes, but beyond that, I was just on the path of just doing the thing I wanted to do, which is be a photojournalist. And so I went on that path, just went through community college, and then landed my first position in the state of Iowa. So from there, I just felt like something was still missing. I had my career, I had my house, my car, and all that, but it was still something missing. Even though I think, even to this day, that God didn't turn his back on me. He wanted me to come back, but I didn't want to hear it. And the day that she told me about her testimony and what she has done, and she told me about the church and if I was a believer in God, I had to be honest. I said no, I did not believe anything anymore.
Yeah, and sorry to cut you off right there, baby, but that broke me, y'all. Because when I tell you this man he checked off everything on my list. Like I had prayed and told God what I wanted in a husband like maybe 2 years before I moved here. And when he said, I don't know how we hadn't talked about religion. I guess I was just, the excitement of talking to someone, going on dates, just getting to know them. I had forgot to kind of ask that question. And then I think when I finally did and he laid that news, I was like, oh, okay, all right. And so from there, were you done, baby?
I'm like you.
Okay, from there, I shared with him that I am a believer and that like I don't believe in like unequally yoked relationships. And so if he was open to learning about Christ, or not even learning about Christ because he knew of Christ, he just walked away from God. So like I said, I explained to him that I cannot be with somebody who won't allow God into their life. And so we had that conversation, and I told him about the church, and he started coming to church. And so from there, we just locked in, talked about God, went to the Bible studies. What What else we do? He got saved. We both got baptized again. Yeah, from there we just kind of started wanting God together and separately. This church that we were going to, they offered like some sort of like discipleship program. So like he was being mentored, I was being mentored. And so we kind of like, grew in Christ together. Because although I knew of God my whole life, I wasn't necessarily saved. And, because of my past, I needed to do a lot of like pruning and just getting to know God all over again and like truly diving deeper, in my relationship with God. So yeah, from there we just kind of took our relationship serious with Christ, and it hasn't been the easiest ride, but we both were committed and knew what we wanted, what we needed, and so from there, yeah, we just grew and grew.
And also, just want to add on to this, I will say that from the beginning it was not easy because there are certain things that God revealed that I even knew myself that it was wrong. Confessing was such a hard thing to do to her. Like, there were times I had to confess some things in my past.
Yeah.
It's not easy to tell the truth, I know, but it's better than just lying to someone that you love and just keeping a secret, especially someone that just really truly wants you to just be saved and just do the right thing.
Yeah. And same for me, like, during our like courtship or dating season, like God started to reveal things in me through like dating him, things that I needed to fix, and so many things in the both of us. And so that was definitely one of the most hardest parts. It's like, meeting somebody and growing spiritually with them. Like God will reveal things in you that you didn't even think was a problem or that you didn't even realize, you had going on. And then the things that we struggle with in our past, coming up, the devil trying to like, tear us apart or like, just going through things with our past coming up. And so it was definitely challenging, and it took a lot of forgiveness for ourselves and then for each other. Yeah, so it was challenging, but it was an eye-opener, and it had to be done because we wouldn't have grown if we were very stubborn or prideful towards it. If we didn't want to change, if he didn't want to change, if I didn't want to change, we wouldn't be where we are married today. So
exactly. I have to admit this, that even last year before we got engaged, when we was courting, there was still some aspects of us that needed to be fixed, such as being selfish, prideful, anger, feeling offensive, and just etc. Stuff like that.
Yeah, like the little things people would consider little sins, like those I feel like are big sins because they deal with you like your heart and who you are on the inside, not just who you appear to be. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That brings up the other part of you that God's trying to reveal.
Yes.
And with that, it kind of opened our eyes to see what the wrongdoings we have done, and to also save our marriage.
Yeah. And that's one thing we knew that we wanted after a while. Wanted to take our relationship serious, take it to the next level. And so with God's guidance, through prayer, fasting, we sought the Lord on this, and we both wanted it. We both were willing to change and make the changes and adjustments and learn and grow. And so God led us to where we are now, married. If you had like any advice for anybody who was in my position, your position, or just, dating, courting in general, what would you say to them?
Be open-minded, be honest, absolutely be honest, just tell the truth, and just don't be afraid to speak out, especially just feel like it's a burden on your back that you need to tell your best friend, your person that you're dating or courting, and just tell them that you're struggling with something, and they will help you. And always have faith in God. Just keep faith inside and just pray, read your Bible, do whatever you gotta do, but don't go back to the past because it's not going to fix anything.
Yeah, I second that. Just being open and honest with the person you're courting of anything that you feel like God needs to still refine in you, and just allowing God and also the person you're dating to just kind of assess you. Ask that person like, hey, do you see this in me? Do you see anything in me that I need to fix? Like, have I been acting a certain way lately? Like, is there anything in me that you notice that needs to be fixed, that I need to work with God closely on? Those kind of things. Get in community. Try to find a local church or some accountability to help you guys through your courting season. The church we mentioned, we no longer attend, but we did kind of go through like their courtship or dating discipleship or whatever. Like the person who discipled me was married to the person that discipled him, so they kind of in a way helped us during our dating and courting season. In another video we'll touch on purity, because that's another thing that was a huge challenge for us. Huge challenge for us. So we'll touch on that another time. But just be open and honest about your struggles, anything that God needs to fix and work on in you. Communicate and pray. Yeah, I think that's really it. And just read your word, like he said, read your Bible. Whatever you guys face, there's definitely an answer in the Bible. So just read your word, keep your faith, and pray and forgive too. Absolutely. Be gracious.
And I guess like in another video, we'll also talk about why we don't attend that church. There is another reason, and that's going to be a whole long video. And right now, this is just the introduction of who we are and how we met. But we'll talk about other stories, like especially how we no longer go to that church. And again, that part's going to be a long story.
Yeah, it's a crazy story. But we definitely want to open the floor up to that conversation, because it's a huge thing that happens today. But we just wanted to go ahead and post our very first video, or second video, and this channel will be used to just kind of spread the gospel and just give any advice for anybody else who was in our shoes, who are dating, courting, whatever, who want to be married. This is the channel you want to tune into, and just weekly vlogs or monthly vlogs as well, just showing our journey, documenting our journey as husband and wife.
And at the same time, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them, and we'll do our best to answer all those questions.
Yep. All right, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it, y'all. We hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on post notifications so you can get notified every time we post a new video, and give this video a thumbs up. All right, bye guys.
I'll see you next time.
Talk to you next time.